if he's playing 17 games a season, he's a wide receiver one, an elite type of player.
Oh, this guy reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, he's so slippery.
I think there's nothing to worry about there, despite him doing some funky stuff on
Yeah.
camera.
Hello, welcome to Football X's and O's Back to School. We'll be talking about the top wide receivers in this draft class: Carnell Tate, Makai Lemon, and Jordyn Tyson. I'm Ryan Steele. Alongside me is NFL expert David Scott. David, we have a lot of good wide receivers in this draft class.
This is a really good group, and there's even more guys than this that are going to go in the first round, but these are the clear-cut top three guys, and I think they're really exciting prospects.
All right, let's get started with Carnell Tate, Ohio State product. Had over 50 receptions, 17 yards per reception. What do you make of Carnell Tate and his pros in the college?
Yeah, Tate is the guy that a lot of people are expecting to be the number one wide receiver off the board this year, and it makes sense. He's just got all of the physical tools and traits to be a top wide receiver in the league. I really like his ball skills. I think he has decent speed. He's not the best speed. His 40 time came in a little slower than I thought it would be. He was around a 4.55, so not the quickest, but still that's not too much of a problem because he's still got very good route running. He's got good hands. He's got a good contested catch ability. So I like a lot of his skills. I think he's been overshadowed by other guys at Ohio State his entire time there. He's behind Jeremiah Smith, so it's tough to be extremely productive when you've got a guy who could be a number one overall pick as a wide receiver. So I think when he gets out of the shadow of Jeremiah Smith, we're going to see the true talent of Carnell Tate, and he is a spectacular wide receiver.
I mean, when in doubt, you take a wide receiver that's from Ohio State. I mean, his ball skills are spectacular. I mean, you could just trust him with so many type of routes. What are the cons, though, for Carnell Tate? Like you said, I think the speed might be an issue. Maybe yards out of the catch, breaking tackles. What do you make of his cons in the league?
Yeah, so he's got very good yards per reception, so he's getting down there and getting the ball. I think he's just a little slow. He gets a little slow motion with his routes, and that's fine when you're in certain types of roles. When he's more of a Z wide receiver, as I would say, so he's not going to be your top option. I don't think he's going to be like a true wide receiver one, but he's got all the talents to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver in the NFL. So if he can clean up some of his route running, get a little crisper out there, I think that would elevate him into a more elite type of player. But right now, he's still a very good prospect.
What do you make of Makai Lemon? 5'11", he's in the slot. He had a lot of receptions, 70-something receptions. What do you make of Makai Lemon?
Yeah, definitely more of a true slot receiver. But, this year's Biletnikoff Award winner, so best wide receiver in college football. That's high praise. He's the guy that we look at as right behind Carnell Tate and could possibly go above him. He is very good in the slot. Great hands. Little bit slower, but there's contested things about his 40 times. His pro day, he was between a 4.44 and a 4.55. That could go either way. I'm not too concerned about his speed, but yeah, the height, 5'11", so more of a true slot wide receiver kind of guy, but he excels at it, man. He is really great at the route running, very crisp, good hands. He's going to take those short passes and take them for solid gains. I like his run after the catch ability. I like his athleticism, his speed. He is a true slot wide receiver, but you look at guys in the NFL that have become stars out of the slot, JSN, Amon-Ra, you're not too worried about picking a slot receiver so high because they have become an integral part of these teams' offenses.
Oh, this guy reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, he's so slippery, he breaks tackles. But at the same time, there's some cons. I mean, I know it might be like an overblown aspect, but maybe the interviews, maybe at the Combine, there was a little bit of stuff that happened in the Combine. Tell us what happened over there.
Yeah, it's definitely overblown, but it was funny just the way he was speaking. His mannerisms were really weird, blew up on Twitter. Definitely does not actually mean anything, but it was funny to watch. It seems like he's fine in the character department. I don't think anything came out about his interviews. I think if there were any rumors, they were all fake stuff just coming out after those media availabilities. So I think there's nothing to worry about there, despite him doing some funky stuff on camera. But otherwise, he's got good performances to show for it, and I'm not too concerned about anything else.
I think he's my favorite prospect. I mean, with Tate, Tyson we're going to talk about, but I feel like Lemon could be the best wide receiver in this draft class strictly because, like you said, he was the best wide receiver last year. That says a lot. And people doubted JSN entering the draft, and look at him now, and he's from USC as well.
Yeah, Lemon is a very refined prospect, and I would not have any qualms about taking him in the top 10 picks.
All right, and the last one is Jordyn Tyson. He had some injury issues, but when he's on the field, he is on, and I feel like teams can take a chance on Jordyn Tyson.
Yeah, Jordyn Tyson, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver of these three guys. It's just a matter of, is he going to be the most available wide receiver of these three guys? When I look at him, if he's playing 17 games a season, he's a wide receiver one, an elite type of player. Problem is, he's hurt all the time. He's going from a torn ACL, PCL to a fractured collarbone to a hamstring injury this year that held him out 3 games. He's missed a third of his college career with injuries. I think it was 17 out of a possible 55 games. So he's off the field a lot. You can't have that in the NFL. You don't want to slap an injury-prone designation on a guy before he even gets to the league. But we're seeing some patterns. He's off the field a lot. If he was on the field more, I think he would be a top 5 pick. It's just the problem of, are you going to get an elite Jordyn Tyson 17 games a season? We're not sure about that.
Yeah, you mentioned the hamstring. I get it. Those injuries in the past, are big, but I feel like what's happening now, and that's the hamstring. He didn't participate, in the scouting combine. The pro day he might not even do. A lot of these teams have to do their homework. I mean, they have to do so many things to make sure that Jordyn Tyson is good. And you know what? If he's good to go, maybe not 100%, but more 90% or over, they'll take a chance on him. And I think like the route running, I feel like he could be a Stephon Diggs type of player in this league. So maybe not the top 10 he's going, but if you're 11 to 20 and you need a wide receiver, Jordyn Tyson might be your guy.
Yeah, once you get into that range where it's worth just making a toss-up to see, all right, maybe we get a fine wide receiver, or we get this elite caliber guy, you might as well. The Ravens, the Jets, those teams down there, just throw up a flyer. If he comes out to be that prospect that he has the talents to become, that's awesome. If not, it's a 20th overall pick. You're not picking number 5 and wasting on where there could have been someone else like a Reuben Bain available. So I think he's going to go further down the board compared to these other guys, but he has just as much upside, if not more.
Yeah, I feel like the 3 guys we mentioned, I feel like Carnell Tate is the safest, and Jordyn Tyson, you can get so much ceiling out of him, but then there's a lot of risk when it comes to those injuries. Exactly. All right, let's get to the board. You have something for us?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a little bit of an explanation about how these guys could be utilized in NFL offenses. So we're gonna line up here in a pretty standard kind of offense where we're gonna have 4 wide receivers, a quarterback, and a running back. The quarterback and the running back don't really matter here. We're gonna get our tight end over here. Guys over here, we'll do kind of like this. All right, so when you look at an NFL offense, there's different designations that you could give each receiver on the field. So we talk about X, Y, and Z receivers. So your X is your number 1 guy. Your guy is out wide. He is your top guy, the guy that can go up, make those contested catches, who's going to be, getting the bulk of your targets. Then you've got your Y. Your Y is traditionally your tight end. That's kind of what the offensive formation centers around. Is your tight end on the line? Is he split out? Is he blocking? So your Y traditionally is the tight end. And then you've got your Z receiver. Your Z receiver is the wide receiver who is on the outside that follows the tight end. Same side as the tight end. Your X is the opposite side as the tight end. Z is on the same side of the tight end. And then you've got your slot wide receiver. I'll just do an S for the slot.
That is an S, yeah.
Okay, so we've got our X, our Y, our Z, and our slot. And I believe that each of these 3 guys can fit in one of those designations. I see Carnell Tate, despite his good size and pass catching abilities, I see him more as our Z receiver. The guy who is going to be that number 2 for right now, who can go alongside a top wide receiver, be a great weapon on the outside across from a top wide receiver. I think of a team like the New York Giants, who have a guy like Malik Neighbors, who is their X receiver, but then you add in Carnell Tate, and you've got an incredible Z to be that second option. We look at Makai Lemon. That's our slot receiver. He's going to be the guy who's taking those short passes for run after the catch ability, or getting down the field every once in a while when we need him to. He's our slot receiver. Jordyn Tyson, if we get him at his peak and he's healthy and he's playing all the time, that is your X. I mean, he is just incredibly talented, so athletic. He can be your X. However, I see Tyson as a guy, when healthy, who can take all 3 of those. He can go wherever he needs to. If he's not healthy, he might get downgraded to your Z. He might get downgraded to a slot. He might not even be on the field. But he has the ability, I think, to get down the field and do those X route abilities. Lemon, we know, can get in a cross, out. He can get up if he needs to. He's going to be doing those kinds of intermediate to short routes, to out routes for the quarterback. Tate, again, he can also do that contested catch stuff. He can get into the post. These kinds of things on the outside where you're away from the tight end. Tyson, if we're getting a fully healthy Tyson. This is all, big asterisks. Are we going to get this version of Tyson? He can do all of this stuff. It's just a matter of, are we going to see it from him? And I'm not so sure. I would be so excited to see a fully healthy Jordyn Tyson because he is just a weapon. But, it's just are we going to get that?
Yeah. I mean, 21 touchdowns in 19 games. I mean, that's just amazing stuff. I mean, if you're a team that's looking at that production, you don't even have to watch the tape, and that looks good already. But look at the tape. He's a great player.
Yeah, he's incredible. So I would not be too upset about saying, all right, maybe Tate can be our X receiver. Let's think about other teams that might take a Carnell Tate. No, if it's the Saints, it's not going to be.
I think the Chiefs could be a team for Tate.
Is he going to be above Rashee Rice?
Possibly. I mean, we didn't see a full season out of Rashee last year.
So maybe Tate comes in as your X. We move Rice into the slot, and then we put Worthy out here as our Z. That's a pretty good offense. If you think about a team like the Saints, you probably keep Olave as your X. You put what is his name? Tate to the Z.
Yeah.
So that probably stays the same. The Giants, he probably stays as the Z.
I mean, the Commanders, they're another team that needs a wide receiver.
Commanders,
Yep.
I would say.
They need outside and slot, honestly.
I would say
I wouldn't even
probably stays as your number one. You go to if he makes it to you get down to Dolphins, Tate is obviously your number one. They've got nothing going on there.
Baltimore Ravens is another team.
Baltimore Ravens, yep. I would see more of a Jordyn Tyson going to be their X there. So these guys have, I think. Lemon is the only one who's really, truly limited in his role where he's going to be a slot guy and nothing else. It's not that that's a bad thing. That's just the nature of his build. He's sub 6 foot. That's kind of just what happens. You look at how many receivers are there who are under 6 feet that are out here split out wide? Not many.
Not many, yeah.
And the ones who are doing it, like a Jackson Smith and Jigba, are just absolute freaks.
Generational players.
So I'm not too concerned about him moving around the field. Tate, I think he can do a bunch of different roles. Tate is never going to end up being a slot receiver. That's just not his build. He's not going to play as a slot receiver. And then Tyson, wherever he goes, he goes. It's just a matter of if he's healthy, what teams like out of him, and if he gets drafted to a team that needs him in a certain position.
Yeah, we've already been talking about a couple teams, team fits, but talk to me about all the team fits. I mean, we mentioned the Chiefs, the Saints, the Commanders. Are there anyone in the mix other than the Giants maybe? In this draft?
I mean, there's a billion teams that can end up with a wide receiver. I actually really like the Los Angeles Rams for Makai Lemon.
That's a sneaky team.
Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Makai Lemon. You take a run at the Super Bowl with that group. That would be awesome.
Sick.
The Jets for Tyson.
Yeah.
I could see Lemon at the Dolphins. I could see Tyson at the Ravens. And then you go further down the board. If one of these guys falls, they're probably not going to fall, and that's where you see Omar Cooper, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston coming in. So I think once you get past 15, 16, you're probably going to see these guys off the board. It's possible that Tyson falls for that injury concern, but it's really mid-first round is where we start seeing those other 3 guys come in.
And we talk about the Giants, they have the 5th pick, but I would say the Titans are another team. I mean, they have the number 4 pick. I know people keep thinking like Jeremiah Love, maybe to the Titans, but they need wide receiver help badly. I mean, they just brought back Calvin Ridley, but I think that's only because they have no one else on that roster other than, I think, Wan'Dale Robinson. So that's not really number 1 that you really can consider. So I think one of those guys could be a fit for the Tennessee Titans, too, with Brian Dable and company.
Yeah, I'm a Wan'Dale Robinson truther, so I'll put some respect on his name. But, yeah, I think number 4 is possible. Number 4 is probably like the ceiling.
It's the ceiling, yeah.
That's where we could see the first wide receiver go off the board. The Titans have a lot of needs. If it's not Jeremiah Love, if it's not a Reuben Bain or David Bailey, then it's probably one of these wide receivers. And then, your floor is the rest of the draft.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
There's so many guys. We could possibly see an Omar Cooper jump in front of Jordyn Tyson if the injury concern is so much. Or we could see, Jordyn Tyson jump in front of Makai Lemon, or Makai Lemon goes first. This is the joy of the NFL draft, is that we could talk about it as much as we want, and we could predict as much as we want. Whatever we're talking about here right now, 95% chance it's not happening.
All right, this is a definitely great topic, wide receivers. I feel like we should have another show for the next 3 or 4 wide receivers that can get drafted too. You think we could do that maybe?
Probably. I love Omar Cooper. Casey Concepcion has got that crazy speed, and Denzel Boston is a really intriguing prospect. So maybe we throw those 3 guys in pretty soon.
All right, we might have to do it. All right, that's going to wrap things up here. Football, X's and O's, back to school. You can watch us every Monday. We also have other off-season content. Please like and subscribe and let us know in the comments who you think is the best wide receiver in this class.